Hello.
Hello. You just counted down like Freddie from iCarly.
I love iCarly.
iCarly is back, and it is actually so good. Take it from us professional comedians. It's actually very, very funny.
Yeah.
Really funny.
When I heard that they, were bringing it back, I was like, they're all adults. It's gonna be really awkward and, cringy.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out it's actually really funny. I highly recommend it.
For real, that's everyone's fear because so many shows have been coming back, and when they do, it's not good. It's always so cringy and out of space and time. It just doesn't make any sense. It just is trying too hard to be this century, and it's weird.
Yes, I think it's a mix of they're trying to mix two things that don't really make sense, which is the older characters, but they still act too much like when they were young. And which is funny because I think the new iCarly, it's very much still the same characters, but they're all adults. Mm-hmm. And they actually, I think it was a really smart idea to allow them to have more adult content.
Yeah, and it's
they drink alcohol,
Yes.
They're talking about did they talk about hooking up or something like that?
I'm not sure.
She really was into that guy, but
they haven't talked necessarily about sex, but it is really adult themes, and it's honest. It's genuine to what adults really struggle with. It's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it other than they hit the nail on the mark about how adults be.
Mm-hmm.
We're all trying our best, but we all fuck up, and it's just really good. It's exactly what a sitcom should be. It's honest and it's funny.
It's campy.
It is.
You have to suspend your reality a little bit, but that's the whole point.
It's so perfect. I'm so glad there's at least one sitcom. It's probably the only sitcom I'll ever watch because a lot of them are not good anymore. Or, the newer ones, no one has been able to make some that are really funny. And so I'm really happy that it's actually good because no other show needed to be ruined. So.
Right. And that gives me a little bit of hope because there are some things coming up that I'm like, please.
Heather's back.
She's back with a vengeance, baby. Hocus Pocus, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ruin that. Leave it intact.
Let's leave it. Yeah.
But what if, they hit it on the head, like iCarly? Because last night we were watching it, and I was like, I feel so much comfort watching this right now. Mm-hmm. Because, obviously I liked all the characters when I used to watch it on Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. And, just to see an update on their life is, really cute.
Right. I kept thinking to myself, holy shit, I'm watching iCarly right now.
Yeah.
You know?
I want an update for every show that's ever ended that I've been sad about.
Yeah.
For example, Skins, when I finished Skins, or I never finished Lost.
Right.
If I'm obsessed with a show, it really takes me a long time to watch the final episode because I just can't let go of all the characters. And, what does that say about my mental health? Who knows?
What does that say about your attachment?
My sanity? Who knows?
What does it say about your attachment style? Who knows?
Any LMFT out there?
We're gonna have to put Heather away. So, you guys, we did not post last week. And that was plainly because we were just a little bit too busy. And that's just how it went down. Mm-hmm. And I was going to make a post just announcing it. And my sister was very adamant about it. And I was too. When she convinced me, I was like, you're right. It's just, we were just trying to look at it from the perspective of a listener. How we listen to podcasts. We just want updates. But truly, the reason why I didn't is because I couldn't think of a way to, basically aesthetically make a story post. I couldn't, to put text on a story made me almost cringe. I don't know why. And that's my fault. I take full responsibility because I should have asked my sister or gotten over it. But that's really what happened. And I'm just glad we're back because guess what? We have tea. I know we say this,
scalding hot
but
tea.
We're only talking about things that have happened to us in the past 2 weeks. We're only talking about, I don't know.
And that was the trade-off. Right? We were both ooh, when are we gonna record? We have so much stuff to do. But then we both were you know what? Okay, let's do what we gotta do. And that's more content for the podcast in the end, you know.
100%.
And so here we are. And get your teacups ready, ladies.
Yes.
Well, not just the ladies. The men and the theys. Everybody's invited.
Everyone. Let's get into it because we have a lot to say. Seriously.
Okay. I think I know what you want to start with.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
Not that it's like I care about this. It's just that we are definitely talking about this.
Yeah, like
right
this
now.
was the one. This was the one thing that I was like, I really want to talk about this on the podcast.
Yeah, and when it happened, we
Yeah.
both deep down knew this is going to be mentioned on the podcast because this is funny.
Yeah. So why don't you start off?
Okay, but roll the intro music.
Oh, right. Okay, we're back.
We're back. Okay. So, my sister and I went out. And that's how this started. This is how this story is starting. So, we went out. We went to a lesbian bar. We haven't gone out together yet. So, we were just like playing everything by ear, just trying to find a good vibe. We ended up at this lesbian bar. And we walk in, we go to the bathroom line because obviously we had been drinking before we got there.
We literally were in line to get into the bar, and once we got into the bar, we got in line to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, there's like this really funny like meme about how like what going to the bar really is like. You're just in a bunch of lines. It's like you're just like awkwardly standing waiting and shit. That was us. So
Yeah.
we stood into we stepped into this other line, and right behind us, this girl started talking to us, and she was so cute, so sweet, like just being really friendly, just telling us like, oh, I like your makeup, or I forgot what she told you. I don't remember what exactly she said, but she was basically just like being very like complimenting us and being very sweet. And so we were talking the whole time in line, and we really like enjoyed her company, and she was with two other girls, and you know, we just really felt safe with them. So after we went to the bathroom, they were like, we should like come, let's go to the dance floor, like, you know, like we were planning to like kind of just vibe for the night together.
Yeah.
And so then basically we ended up meeting these two other guys.
Once we got to the dance floor, we bumped into these two boys that were dancing together, and they looked like a good time, so we joined them.
Yeah, but they were with that group, with the girls.
But we didn't know until we were up there.
What do you mean?
We didn't know that they were together. I didn't know that.
I thought the second we went to the dance floor and we met up with the girls that they introduced us. That was just my memory though.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of substances involved.
Exactly.
So who knows?
Who knows? But the point being that these two guys, whatever, we met them, they introduced us, and they were really hot, both of them. That was my initial thought, was like, wow, these guys are hot, but I
want to describe them, just
okay.
For, you know, optics, you know.
Of course.
Also, my voice is going out and I have a cough, so excuse me. One of them was really tall, I would say like 6'2".
Ooh.
With a beard, curly hair, and brown eyes. And the other one was around like 5'10", I would say.
No, 5'8". Because I'm 5'8". He was like my height.
Oh, okay. So he was your height. Hispanic, slender.
Really chiseled face.
Yes, I was just
like,
about to say, really defined jawline.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw the tall one with the curly hair, the beard, and the brown eyes, I was like, it's over. It's over. My sister's going to go for that one. I knew. I just knew.
Over for them?
I mean, it's over for everybody involved.
It's over for everyone because obviously
we're talking
two
about
hot people find each other at a bar, and there's only one thing left to do. I mean, what what else is left to do when there's two really fucking hot tall people?
Right.
So they introduce us, whatever. And then when they start talking to us, the first thing the tall guy tells me is, "This is my fiance." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Like, we're in the gayest part of town."
Yeah.
So it makes I don't care. Like, it makes sense. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like he
I love
said
that.
it in a joking way. And I thought the same exact thing. Like, we're in a gay bar in Hillcrest in San Diego. Like, you telling me that they're your fiance is completely normal.
Yeah, and I didn't take it at all as a joking way. I didn't
honestly,
even see in him that he was saying it in a joking way.
Right. Like, we both were like, oh, okay. Work. Yeah. Like, we love gay people.
But you said you saw it in a joking way?
Well, I feel like he started laughing when he was telling me.
Oh, okay.
But that was outside. So, I don't know.
He told you outside?
Yeah. I didn't know that the tall one had said it. I thought it was
because
only
I
the
guess
shorter one.
Okay.
Because when we were outside, the shorter one was the one that said it. And
so I get it now. Because basically, the tall one had told me at a separate time from my sister. So they told me when I met them. Mm-hmm. But then later on when, like, we all went outside to talk more, I guess that's when they told you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was confused because I was like, it sounds like you're joking, but, like, that's not really a joke. Because we're in a gay club, right? But I'm also bisexual, so that doesn't strike me as abnormal.
No, not at all.
You know, like, anywhere in the world that I am, if you tell me that you're married to a same-sex person, like, work, you know?
Exactly. I would never... Basically, let's move on to explain what the fuck happened, because I'm sure everyone's confused.
I know.
Just as much as we are. We're confused, bitch. So they tell me that whatever, and then he's like, just kidding, we're just best friends. We like to fuck around and say that. We just like to joke around. And in my head, I'm like, how is that a joke? But okay, go off, kings, I guess.
Right.
Like, that makes... Okay, whatever, I guess. And so then, whatever, we separate, we're dancing, whatever. We end up just being with the girl who first started talking to us. And I asked her, I'm like, are your friends really straight? Like, are they straight? Like, I already knew I had to ask because it was just really weird the way they came off about their sexuality. And so then she says, yeah. And I'm like, and also I found out that she had just met them like a week ago at a party or something. So she she hasn't known that long, but she was like, yeah. And I was like, I kind of want to kiss one of them because to me, they didn't seem attached to anyone. I didn't think they came with anyone. And she was like, no, you should. And she was genuine about it. And I said, which one's the nicer one? And she said, the taller guy.
I just want to say that I was there for that. And I can tell you exactly where we were in we were in the bathroom. And I just want to clarify, because we were like washing our hands, you know? I want to clarify, you said specifically the tall one. You said, I kind of want to kiss him. And
oh my God, wait.
Yes.
When we were in the bathroom?
Yes.
I don't remember this. This is weird.
That's exactly when it happened. We were washing our hands. And I know that because, like, I was, like, laughing in my head because you were like, I want to kiss him. And I was just like, that's hilarious. Like, that she's telling her that.
I can't believe I don't remember this because this time I'm talking about was at the bar. But that...
I think it happens 2 separate times.
Like, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think it's funny. I can't remember that time.
Oh. Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that because she told you, go for it. And the reason I remember that so clearly is because she looked completely sincere when she said it. Now.
For sure. I was like, which one's the nicer one? She said the tall guy. And I was like, okay, cool. I already thought he was cuter. I mean, this is what I honestly felt. I felt like the shorter one had a face I was more attracted to. But I like height. I like to feel like a baby.
Oh my god.
I told them that too, and they started laughing.
Oh my god.
The girls, by the way, they were all water signs, so they understood. And he was really hot, like, you know. But to be honest, I was like, if the other one would have been taller, you know. But anyway, literally at the same time when I asked her which one's the nicer one, when we were done like a beat had skipped and we see him and she's like, come over here. Like, she calls his name. She's like, come over here. He comes over. He's like, what? I'm going to the bathroom. And I forget what she's told him. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Because whatever, they're talking. And then I look at him because he's standing right between me and that girl. And I'm like, just so you know, when you come back, I'm going to kiss you. And he's like, wait, what? And he gets closer to me. I'm like, when you get back, I'm gonna kiss you. And he's like, I can see he's getting like all nervous, which is good. But I also can tell, looking back now, why he was nervous. So anyway, he gets nervous. He walks away. He goes to the bathroom. And then later we end up finding each other. And we're all just outside talking. Like,
so yeah, we went to the patio to get fresh air. That's when the shorter one was like making jokes about them being fiancés, whatever. I was talking to like the group of girls and the shorter dude when I saw from the corner of my eye that you guys were making out.
Yeah, so...
And the shorter one was like, this? And he pointed at my sister and the guy making out. And he said, this is confusing. And I looked at him, I'm like, that's two people making out. What's so confusing about that? But it'll make sense later.
Yes. So I'm having like a good conversation with this guy. I really liked flirting with this guy. He was really pushing like my jokes further along. Like he would go along with my jokes and I really enjoyed that. And I just would like to say that before he even spoke to me, like before we really had a conversation, I just looked at him and I was like, are you a Libra? And he was like, yeah. He's like, did someone tell you? Or I was like, no, I can just guess. Like, I'm psychic. Like, get used to it, buddy. Because he just had the most Libra energy, bro. Like, so a lot of fuckboys, I feel like, are Libras. So I got that energy from him a little bit. And so that's why he was really good at continuing my jokes. Because we're both air signs. He was just really quick and witty. And whatever, we were talking, making out, flirting. And then he tells me, like, so I actually came with someone. And I actually feel really bad that because I came with them, but I'm like really into you. And I'm gonna say that again because that's not where I'm saying it backwards. So whatever, me and this guy are talking. Someone who kept showing up to our conversation was the other guy. He just like kept standing between us and popping up, which is fine. But it just like looking back, I'm like, okay. And so while the taller one was talking to my sister, like he was talking to other people, the shorter one starts talking to me. So, like, it's, like, private conversation. Like, no one can hear us. He's pointing to the taller guy. He's like, he came with someone. He came with a girl. And I was like, oh, yeah? And he's like, yeah, but he doesn't like her. And I'm like, okay. And then he just keeps talking about the taller guy. And he's like, yeah, this guy, like, his parents wanted to pay him to marry his last girlfriend. And I'm just like, what? Why? And then I look at him and I'm like, is it because they don't want him to be gay? Oh. And he starts nodding.
There you go.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just like listening, right? Yeah. I just met these people. I'm like, okay, these people are just coming up to me telling me these things, even though I don't feel like it's appropriate, like, for him to be saying anything about someone else like that. But we were drunk. Like, who cares? Like, I wasn't thinking about it that much. But looking back, I'm like, that was so rude of him.
Well, like, you shouldn't out anybody ever.
Exactly. And you know what? What I think it was, he could tell that the tall guy liked me, so he kind of wanted me to be turned off by his situation.
It did seem to me like the shorter one was trying to sabotage it. And because of his reaction of being like, this is confusing. Like, what? Yeah. It's so random. And they're the ones who pointed it out more. Like, because I saw from the corner of my eye you guys were making out. But, like, I'm not really interested in seeing my baby sister making out with a guy, you know? So I'm, like, focused in the conversation, and then they're, like, pointing at you guys. You know, so it was just like, why are you
who cares?
Doing this? Like, shut up.
Exactly, like, who cares?
What
like,
is the point?
Why are you so shocked people are making out at a bar? Like, that's so, I don't know, it's just weird, and, like, that's, I think, when we start to feel like the vibe is off. Yeah. Like, something's up with this group, like, you know? And let me tell you, we are telling the story from a place of understanding now. We did not understand what the fuck was going on in the moment, but we weren't necessarily confused. We were just going along with everything and like whatever. So then we're together basically the whole night, me and the tall guy, and so we go dance and whatever, and then the shorter one starts dancing with me, and he tells me that he wants to steal me from the tall guy, like I'm an object.
Oh my god.
And I start rolling my eyes so hard because the shorter one is like dancing with me. He's like, I'm gonna steal you. And I'm just rolling my eyes at him. I'm like, what the fuck are you, like, what's going on? Like, what do you mean you're gonna steal me? And so then I tell him, by the way, the shorter one was really drunk. He was really drunk. He was. And I tell him, can I tell him what you're telling me? And he's like, yeah. I
Because
don't
they're
even...
friends, right? So you're like, oh, okay, word. Let me tell your friend that you're telling me this.
Well, I'm like, if you're being shady and you tell me no, just confirm. I'm putting a mirror to your face. Like, you're being shady.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he understood what I said when I said, can I tell him? But I immediately go to the taller guy and I'm like dancing with him. And then I tell him, like, he's telling me that he's going to steal me from you. Like I'm an object. And he really can't hear me. So then I keep saying it. But then I'm like, you know, and then he starts saying something like, do you want to kiss him? Or something like that. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on right now? So I grab the tall guy, I pull him outside so we can actually have a conversation about this because I'm confused. And then he's like, I mean, you can kiss him if you want. Like, he's like telling me, and I'm like, I know that, but at the same time, like, I didn't know what to say, so I was just like, well, I told him I like you. And then he starts talking about the girl he came with.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you know, I came with this girl and I just feel so bad. If I would have come alone with my friends, like, I would be all over you. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know how to respond to that. But what I did tell him was, it's, like, I don't know what's going on, but, like, you're gonna have to choose. Like,
I think just, like, be clear about what you want.
Yeah.
Because you are making out with me.
Yeah.
And dancing with me, and then
and
you're talking about this other girl.
Yeah, and I
and
told him...
how bad you feel about it.
Yeah, and I told him that I didn't want anything serious. So that wasn't a problem. It's just, like, obviously I'm not gonna want you to be with two girls in one night, you know? Like, for tonight you're gonna have to fucking choose.
Right.
Because I definitely didn't want anything serious with this guy. So he keeps being like, yeah, like, I don't know, da da da. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I really don't care. I don't have to make out with anyone. Like, you can simply go back to her and I wouldn't care. It was just really annoying because I was like, what are you even telling me though? Like, what do you know? And so we're talking about this. And then guess who shows up again? The shorter guy.
Oh my god.
He interrupts us and, like, is trying to get us to go back to the dance floor. Like, he's literally trying so hard to stop this. Yeah. And so then we go back to the dance floor and I'm just dancing. I'm not focused on whatever's going on. Like, I'm just vibing. And then I see that the taller guy is talking to the girl that he came with. Which, by the way, oh my god, we didn't make this clear. But the girl he came with was the one that started talking to us in the bathroom line. Apparently, that was the girl he came with. And so they are talking. And then she, like, looks at me. She's like, come here, come here, come here. When they're both standing there, I'm like, okay. So I go. She's like, I literally do not care. You guys can, like, kiss or whatever. Which, I'm sorry if this is a little backwards. Like, I'm back, you know. Like, I'm not telling the story in order, but we were drunk. But I had asked her already... right after we made out, and he told me that he came with someone, and he told me it was her, the girl that we met in the bathroom. The second I saw her, I pulled her aside immediately, and I started talking to her, separate from him, on purpose, because men are fucking disgusting, and they'll lie, and I don't know, but I just didn't want him around, obviously. Like, that's how I know I'll get the honest truth. I talked to her, and I'm like, I didn't know you came with him, but, like, I don't want, like, if you're with him, I don't want to be, like, I don't want this to get in the way of whatever is going on with us. Like, you know, like, I basically told her, I don't care about him. I want us to be okay. You know, like, you let me know. And she told me, like, no. Like, no, please, like, I don't care. Like, you're so sweet. Like, I really don't care. Like, you're so sweet for asking me, but, like, I don't care. Like, you can hook up with him. Like, I don't care. And I was like, okay, cool. Which, right before the shorter guy interrupt us again, that was part of what I told him was, well, she told me it was okay, and we just kind of have to take her word for it. And so the fact that he was still like, I don't know, was like, okay, so I feel like you're choosing, like, or like, you're not being honest because something is holding you back still when she obviously said it was okay. And so when she pulls me over, she's like, it's okay. She looks at him, tells him it's okay. She's like, I want you guys to kiss right now. And so then we do, and then she kisses both of us. And she's like, no, you guys like have fun, blah blah blah. And so then me and the tall guy keep dancing the whole night, and we keep kissing, like, we go off about our night, whatever. And looking back, I realized that really what was going on, the reason he couldn't choose, was because that girl wasn't the one he was worried about like, her seeing me, yeah, with him, or upsetting her. It was the other guy.
Right.
And then, so, fuck?
So then we start to piece the things together, and this is a couple days after. Because, like, that was a mind fuck. Because after you guys stopped dancing, I mean, we all were like, oh no, I mean, the bar closed. It was like 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So we went out to, like, order our Lyft, and I just see them all crossing the street. And, like,
yeah. Without saying a single thing to us.
And we spent the whole night with them.
Yeah.
Like, the moment we stepped foot into that bar. So it did seem a little bit, like, rude.
I really thought it was rude.
Like,
not like, oh my god, blah, blah, blah. But just like, okay. Like, it just felt like, that's weird.
Yes. So we were kind of talking about it for a while. My theory is that not only is he gay, but I think she's gay too.
More gay than they're giving off, than they will allow themselves to be honest with themselves
about.
So I
think everybody was gay, but no one was like being very straightforward about like what they were looking for. Because I mean, if the girl wanted him for you guys to make out, like, it's possible she's into like polyamory or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just like weird to go about it like that. And then like the guy.
Which guy?
The tall guy.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who, according to your story, which I didn't hear, but I believe you, obviously, he's the one that told you that he was with the shorter guy, that they were a couple.
Yeah.
He was their fiance. So that's funny. And then the fact that the shorter one was uncomfortable with you guys making out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that they went out of their way to tell you that the tall one, that their parents wanted to marry them off. Or wanted to pay them to get married.
Yeah, like, he just kept telling me things about the tall guy. Like, the whole night he was just talking about the tall guy.
Yeah. So, like, that sounds pretty, gay.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like, I love, like, that's the whole point we went to that bar.
Yeah.
But it was just interesting that, like, they were making it about the girl when, in reality, I'm pretty sure it was about the guy.
I definitely think it was about the guy.
I think they're together. I think they're just hiding it.
Yeah, I think they're really into each other.
And then I think the girl was into you.
Yeah,
but
I think so too.
Keep in mind too, like, every one of them was 22. I'm 27, my sister's 22. And then that whole group, everybody was 22. We do have to keep in mind that they're young and haven't explored enough. And, you know, who are we to say, like,
you have to have your shit figured out.
Exactly.
But it's just like, if you don't have your shit figured out, maybe don't include other people.
Like,
other people you don't know.
Other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and like the fact that he didn't even say bye, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
from that moment on, I was like, well, he made his choice. He chose her because he went with her, which is so funny because of everything I was hearing that night was like, he doesn't like her, and like, you know, I could tell he didn't like her from the way he was talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me, like, if I came alone, I would have been all over you. But you still chose her because she's a safe beard to have.
And
whereas I'm a very direct person. From tell them what happened when I pulled her aside. When he saw that I pulled the girl aside, he was shaking in his boots. So my sister forgot. But
oh, you mean when you pulled her aside? He didn't say anything. He just looked at me. Like, surprised that you pulled her aside right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, yep, that's my sister. She's very direct.
And he said, I can see that.
Yeah.
If I'm anything, I'm fucking direct. I mean...
And I think that's why... Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I think that's what scared him. Because, I mean, I did two very, I guess, direct things, which were, I told him I wanted to kiss him. Or that I was going to kiss him. And then I pulled her aside. Like, he knew I wasn't fucking around. He knew that's just who I am, how I am. Like,
right. So I want to touch back on that in a second, but I do want to say that I think that's why it bothered us so much, because all we ask is for clarity.
Yeah.
And like, being straightforward, you know?
That's all
like,
I asked for.
It's not about him choosing her. It's about the way he chose her.
Yes.
All he had to do was tell you, like, I'm with her, you know, I'm not interested.
I really like you, but I think I'm gonna stick with her.
Or he didn't like you, he could have said that too. Whatever. He was hesitant, but he was still flirting with you and kissing you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like mixed messages. And then the way that he chose or made his decision was by ignoring you.
Yeah, by like just leaving me.
Yeah, which is really fucked up.
And also something else it's really fucked up. Another thing he told me when he was telling me, like, if I came by myself, I would be all over you. He told me, like, I want to take you out this week. Like, I really want to like take you out, da da da. And we had already exchanged, or he had followed me on Instagram by that point, and and I didn't follow him back when he left.
I think that's
when
totally
he like the
valid,
reason
yeah.
I didn't follow him back is because he didn't say bye.
Yeah, because why even entertain that energy? Like,
Yeah.
no.
I don't. The second you don't do that to me, I don't care. For me, like that basically crossed the boundary. I just didn't like that basically. So I don't want to give my energy to anyone who would do something I don't like that quick. Like I just met you and you already kind of did something that was annoying. So I don't want to give you any of my energy. Like I was literally done with him. Like I was not going to follow him back. I'm keeping you away from me. Like I'm not following you back.
Yeah.
Like figure your shit out.
Yeah. And I think you are spot on the fact that you said that you being direct is basically what pushed him away.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he is indeed in the closet and hiding it, someone whose parents is willing to pay him money to marry a woman, like I can't even imagine what's going on inside, you know?
Yeah.
All the self-loathing, he's probably miserable, and to pursue someone like you who's very direct and knows what they want and is confident in their sexuality, you know, and knows how to communicate in comparison to him anyway. I know we struggle with that, but like in comparison to him, you know how to communicate. He's obviously gonna go for the person who's also confused.
Mm-hmm.
I got those vibes from the girl. Like I really felt like she liked you and was like talking to you, and the whole thing was so funny because I felt like they both liked you, but they came together.
Yeah.
You know? It was like, is this a sitcom? Like, what's happening?
I know. But they both weren't, or the girl wasn't saying it.
No.
She
was
and
very
then,
reserved. And
yeah.
that's also what makes me think he would prefer someone like her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because if she is a beard for him, then he doesn't really need to, like, be afraid of being called out on his bullshit or, like, having to be vulnerable with someone who is willing to be vulnerable and open.
Exactly. So she was the easier route.
Yeah.
From what I felt, like he was more into the guy that was there, that was his best friend. You're not into anyone else but this guy right now. And so, like, I don't know, but... Okay, overall, I just feel like he was very intimidated by me. He was even telling me things like, you're an amazing woman. Like, you're amazing. I was like, I know. Like, he was hyping me up and all that, blah, 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 blah. And he was telling me, like, you know, I meet so many sorority girls and they're just so basic. Basically telling me that, like, I'm the complete opposite. So I just feel like, in general, I intimidated him. He had just, like, had never gotten a girl, like, that's as special and confident like me.
And again, like, honestly, if we look at it from a macro lens, I went to college, just so you know.
Good. I mean, I just mean, I'm proud of you.
So if we look at it from, like, a zoomed out lens, like, very, like, from a social perspective, men are not used to women being forward, you know? Men are, like, we talked about this last time. They're taught to go after what they want. And women are just supposed to wait around until someone likes them.
Yeah.
And wants to kiss them and, you know. So
yeah.
It was probably a very eye-opening experience for him to meet someone like you. And you kissed her in front of him too, right?
Yeah,
and
kind of. I mean, she kissed me in front of him.
Okay. I don't know if that really makes a difference, but you were willing to kiss her and
right.
You guys kissed, and maybe it'll help him understand that, like, you don't need to be so rigid with labels and, like, your sexuality. And that always makes me sad because the odds are against queer people. Of course we know that, but, like, even within the queer community, there's so many labels, you know?
Yeah.
Which are helpful to some to really be very specific about their identity. And for some, it can be really difficult because they don't know. And so I hope that, if anything, this experience helped them see that, like, there is a spectrum, you know, you don't have to, and it's probably hard for him to see that because his parents are clearly have an agenda for him, which is really sad.
Yeah. It's overall just, like, we just feel honestly sad. Like, it's just unfortunate that people can't be themselves.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me how lucky I feel to be supported. about my sexuality, because not everyone has that. And so we've never blamed them for being confused or like, you know, like that must be hard for them.
Yeah.
It was just like the way we were involved with them wasn't pleasing for us.
Well, and it doesn't excuse being rude and hurtful.
Yeah. Like, I don't care about your sexual, like, I understand you're struggling, sir, but you didn't say bye to me. That's plain and polite. And that's why I didn't follow him back.
Right. And
or want anything to do with him. Simply because he didn't say bye. That's the only thing that really made me really turned off by him. Even though maybe looking back, maybe I would have been more turned off. Like, once I realized what was really going on, I probably would have been more turned off by him. But I was still willing to go out with him and make out with him. Like, because I didn't care. I just want to make out with this guy. I don't want anything serious with this guy. He was really hot. Like,
exactly.
So really what turned me off was just his impoliteness. So
yeah.
You're right.
And I think that's enough. When you first meet someone and they show you who they are, believe them.
Exactly. You have to accept people as they come, and you can't wait on potential just because he was nice to me the rest of the night. Like, if anything, I thought he was full of shit. Like, when men are like that, I feel like they're always full of shit. So I didn't even trust him, but
leaning on potential is good when you're first getting to know somebody.
Yeah.
But if you find yourself making excuses for their behavior, that's a red flag, you know?
Yes.
Because, like, potential just means that you don't really know who they are yet, but it's going well. But if they do something and then you're, like, you're finding yourself explaining their behavior so that you don't feel triggered by their behavior, that's a red flag. Because, like, triggers are signs. Mind you, sometimes triggers are just your problem, you know? Your trauma and, like, all that stuff. But that's why you have to be aware of them, because sometimes it's an actual red flag of, like, something that is a problem that you might not like about them. You know?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to, like, be like, but I really like them, and, like, they probably didn't mean it like that, and they were just having a bad day, and, you know, and then 3 years later, you're living with them, and you hate each other, and that's not a real story.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about experience at all.
Oh.
Anyways.
But wishing them well. I'm really proud of myself because I'm really walking the walk, because I've worked really hard on myself, and, like, yeah, I'm never, ever, ever again going to accept the bare minimum from anyone. I don't care. I really don't care. You're not, like, I'll go find another hot person. Like, hot people exist all the time. If all I want to do is make out with you, I'm not going to stick in this mess. I'm going to go find someone else that's hot. Like, I feel like every girl should feel that way.
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like a lot of girls feel like they won't have that many opportunities or whatever.
Yeah, because we're just told to sit around and wait.
Yeah, but don't do that.
No.
Lead by example. I mean, girl, I made out with 4 people since then. You know, like, don't wait around.
3 weeks. I'm just
yeah.
More or less.
And I'm telling you, because, like, I don't want girls to think that, like, it has to be up to the other person in order for you to make out with someone, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can go out and have that intention and you just have to work on your confidence in order to get what you want. If you just want to make out with people, then you can ask for that as a woman. It's, like, you know, it's possible.
And by working on your confidence, what that really means is getting to know yourself, number 1. Number 2, loving yourself.
Respecting yourself, having compassion for yourself, that's loving yourself.
Yes. And you can't love yourself if you don't know who you are.
Yes.
So you need solitude to really find out, like, what am I into? Like, what are my quirks? What makes me so special?
Yes.
Because for me, I never heard growing up what made me special, you know? I wasn't validated in the way that I needed, in the sense that I needed to be seen and recognized for, like, the things that are really unique to me.
Yeah.
So growing up, I never even knew that I was special.
No, you were never told you're so patient, you're so kind to people. Like, we were always valued for what we did, not for who we were as children. That was never valued. If we cleaned the room, that's the only time we got praise. You know,
if we were smiling and being nice, that's when we were praised. If we were having a bad day and we were sad,
or acting out as children do,
right?
Don't be you're being naughty. You're not, no te estás portando bien. Like, you're not being good right now.
And that's a great way to put it. You're not being good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because when your parent is looking at you in the eyes and says you're a bad kid,
yeah,
that fucks you up.
Yeah, because you're acting out, and then they tell you you're being bad. Acting out is bad. Instead of trying to understand what you're feeling.
Instead of
so then you
pointing out, like, your behavior is a sign of something.
Yeah.
And something that's going on inside. What is happening? Talk to me. You know? And that's
so then you think being sad is bad, or having a bad day is being a bad person, that you shouldn't do that you should shove those feelings down. You shouldn't let it come out externally. You shouldn't express it. Yeah.
Deal with it in private, but when you're with other people, you have to be smiling.
Or when you're with me as your mom. Yeah. Because our mom couldn't figure that out for herself, how to deal with her own bad days and whatever. Her negative, which I don't think any feeling is negative. Every feeling is necessary. But what people would call not so pleasant experience, when you're, like a negative emotion. I mean, she didn't want us to bring it up to her. Right. She could barely deal with her own shit.
Right.
So she didn't care. She didn't care when we were acting out. She didn't care if we were having a bad day or if we were sad. If I remember times when I would express it to her. So, like, not even me acting out. Like, of course, when I acted out, there was no way I was going to get anything from my mom,
Other than yelling or threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stop crying. Why are you crying? If you keep crying, I'm going to give you a reason to cry. I'm going to hit you. Mm-hmm. My mom always tells me, I never hit you. But she always threatened to hit me, which is just as bad. You're using fear in order to control your children. It didn't matter. I'm scarred by that. The fact that she always threatened to hit me, even if she didn't hit me. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, when I would tell her directly, like, I feel sad about this, I felt like she was so numb. Like, she didn't tell me anything. Like, she wouldn't respond. Like, basically, I thought she just didn't care. When really it was just like she was so numb, she didn't know how to help me.
She was dealing with her mental health issues the way that she knew how, which is shutting down, disassociating, and just kind of like succumbing to the spiral, right?
Yeah.
Where in the present moment, what she needed to do was be present with her children. Now, I say that, but I also have a lot of compassion. Like, it's a lot to ask from somebody,
What is?
To be the perfect parent when you're, like, an immigrant, low income, were abused your whole life. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be upset, but I'm just saying that's exactly why she couldn't be there for us, because she was dealing with all of those issues at the same time as being a parent.
It just makes me really angry because I get it. Immigrant parents have had a traumatic life, but the children of immigrant parents never asked to fucking be born. Like, it just is such a selfish, I feel like.
You feel like it's a cop-out.
It's a cop-out. People like my mom had children in order to think, because they thought it was gonna fulfill and fix them, and it was all about them, when they didn't realize, I don't even have a stable job. I don't even have documentation in this new country, but she still decided to have me. It just feels so, I understand the trauma of an immigrant parent, but I just have more compassion for the children, because it's just like so much is expected of immigrant children emotionally. Mm-hmm. Like, you're supposed to fulfill something for that person, and I just, knowing firsthand how that feels, it's just like, it feels really selfish to me.
It's really, really painful because they sacrificed their home country, their stability and everything, to come here and work and do all this stuff. So then hearing that growing up, you're always told, like, we sacrificed everything. We did all this for you. It's a common thing that kids of immigrants hear, because it's true. It's true that they sacrificed everything. It's true that they came to this country and that they have to work from sun up to sundown to make ends meet. And so what they expect from us is to go to college and be something, quote unquote, better than them. And even though that's valid, it's extremely harmful because, like you said, and I can see that you're really upset by it, because you're not allowed, or you're not really given any choice in the matter.
Exactly.
It's like they assume that because they chose to leave their country and come here and start anew and everything, that we owe them our lives.
Which is a disgusting thing to do. I never asked to be born, you know? Like, it's just so much pressure. So much pressure when, like, you're living for this other person because they gave up their life for you. I never asked you to give up your life for me. If you gave up whatever, like, came here, like, that should have been for you. Don't place that on me. Mm-hmm. I'm a fucking 10-year-old. I'm an 8-year-old. Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that they would actually tell us this as kids is so alarming and, like,
there's so much
scary
toxicity in that type of dynamic. And, like, we are first generation Americans, but so I don't want to speak for every first generation American, but in my experience from my family and then, like, my friends' families and stuff like that, there's just a lot of toxicity that is normalized and just accepted in the Mexican community here, like controlling. Mm-hmm. Like, it's really common that adults, just because they're not married yet, still have to come home to parents who treat them like children, who have curfews for them, who call them in the middle of a movie yelling at them because they didn't answer their phone.
Who can't, they can't sleep over at anyone's house.
They aren't allowed to, like, have a few drinks at a party.
Yeah, they're not allowed to have a boyfriend.
So
they're not allowed to do anything but go to college.
Exactly. And then if you veer from that, you're made to feel like a bad person. The guilt is their tool, their number one tool.
Literally, if you decide to have any type of free will and decide for yourself what you want, and you're made to feel guilty about that, it's so disturbing how normal that is.
Yes.
For Hispanic families.
Yeah.
It's so normal. And I see it all the time. And
even
it just, like, blows my mind how much some of my friends or people that I see excuse their behavior. And the only reason I think it blows my mind is because something in me has made me be able to, like, let go of my own family in order to, like, support my needs and wants, which I just feel like I'm lucky enough to have been able to do that, you know. Mm-hmm. Not everyone, a lot of people rely on their parents, so, like, I get it, but it's just, from my perspective, from someone who has done it still just blows my mind that people are in that situation, you know. And I feel sorry for them.
I want to talk about that, feeling sorry for somebody. Mm-hmm. Because that's actually not empathy. Feeling sorry for somebody is actually not empathy. It's sympathy, which automatically puts you higher than them. So you're, like, looking down at them like, I feel really bad for you. Empathy is saying, I can imagine how frustrating it is to be an adult who is hardworking, because we're all taught to be hard workers, you know, because our immigrant parents are hard workers. So then you have all this independence too, because you're expected to do a lot when you're a kid. If you have a lot of siblings, you're expected to take care of them, you know?
Yeah.
But yet, even though you're hardworking, have a full-time job, and, you know, help around the house and do all that stuff, and yet you're still treated like a child. You're still treated like you don't have a say in anything. And you're conditioned to believe that that's love.
Yes.
So it must be so frustrating to live that life, and really miserable to feel like you don't have control over your life and you owe them something. And look, it is a cultural thing. People are probably happy living in that dynamic, and that's great, you know. But for the people who aren't happy, my heart breaks for them, because I've been there and I know how suffocating it is, you know. Yeah,
sometimes I find myself being more critical than empathetic. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just set all my thoughts. Mm-hmm. Like, that's genuinely how I feel. I feel sorry for you, but it's like, well, why do I feel that? Why is that the way I would describe how the situation's like? I don't know, and I kind of just have to sit on it and think about it. I give myself a lot of time to sit with my thoughts and understand why I feel things. But yeah, like, sometimes I can be more critical, and I try to live my life by reminding myself that everyone's doing their best, and I've never not seen that like my friends and, you know, are doing their best. It's just for some reason my opinion always, it does sometimes go down to like something as simple as like, I feel sorry for you. It's like, well, it can't just be that. Like, look at it deeper,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and it's hard to have empathy when no one had empathy for you growing up, including me, you know, as your sister. Like, I was really cruel to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's important to recognize, like, we didn't really get that growing up, you know? So it is a muscle that we have to actively, like, work on. And
yeah. Which, for the most part, we're really... we always put ourselves in other people's shoes. We really try to, at least.
Mm-hmm.
We try to. But obviously, there's always things that, like, we're going to end up judging people for,
Mm-hmm.
like, everyone.
Yeah, totally.
Like, everyone does. And
we're, like Dax says, I have to step over a bunch of asshole thoughts before I get to, like, an actual, like, compassionate, empathetic...
not trauma response.
Right. Responding without being triggered.
Yeah.
You have to hop over a lot of asshole thoughts.
Yeah.
And you are not your thoughts. You are your behavior. You aren't even your behaviors, but you have control over how you behave.
Yeah.
Just because your thoughts are telling you one thing doesn't mean you have to act on that.
Yep. 100%. That has to be... that you can't change your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always... that's why I sit on things, because I'm like, you know, there's always something deeper. There's always a... if I'm being critical, there's always gonna be a better way for me to look at it. You know,
exactly.
More compassionate way, a way where I'm reminding myself everyone is doing their best and that I would probably be doing the same exact thing if I were in their situation. I want to make that very clear that is something that's never missed me. It's just that I have felt like I was in that situation and I left. Yeah. So I'm like, why aren't these people leaving? But it's like, I forget the differences in their situation from mine. And that's what I need to focus on, to remind myself that, like, not everyone is going to have it as easy as me. My life fell into place to where I did feel comfortable enough to cut my relationship with my mom, because I just felt like she was literally, it got too much. Emotionally, I couldn't handle it anymore. The abuse, the neglect, I couldn't handle it. So something in my life landed me to where I could separate myself from her financially. That's the biggest point, I think, that keeps people in with their families, because it's hard to make it right now. Yeah. And I totally understand that. So it's just like me reminding myself that, like, people have different circumstances, like, you know, so. Yeah.
And I think you're doing amazing. I think we're both, you know, just doing our best, just like them, and whatever that. Anyway, just kidding.
Well,
like we're all sad.
We're rooting for all immigrant children, all kids of immigrants. Like, I'm rooting for you. Like, and you're going to be okay.
It's a specific experience.
It is. And I feel like this is why the reason I thought my voice mattered was this was part of it, because no one talks about the immigrant experience, what it leaves behind to the children born of immigrants, the real struggle. It is so hard. And I know what it's like. Like, it's just no one talks about it. And it's a horrible thing. Like, it can be really bad. It can get really bad. So that's why I thought it was so important for us to make this podcast in general. Because who else is going to talk about it then? No one. So we have to. Like, it's not fair that immigrant children don't feel like they have someone to relate to. Like, they can't relate to fucking Becca, whose biggest problem in her life is that her dad won't pay for her trip to Greece or something. Like, when you don't have generational wealth and you're in this family where you have to depend on each other, like, it just is crazy to me no one talks about that.
It needs to be talked about more, 1,000%. I'm glad that we brought it up, and we're gonna keep talking about it. That is in our mission statement, to talk about being first generation. It's really important for me, for anyone who is struggling with these things, to know that they are valid, you know, and that
your pain doesn't go unnoticed because we've experienced it. I feel you. Like, if you're struggling, don't downplay it. Don't have compassion for yourself. Understand that you are in a hard position, and that's how you'll move forward and find the solution for what you want, so you can really decide what you feel like is the best thing for yourself.
And it's important because visibility, first of all, makes people feel not alone, you know. And it also helps people understand that it's not that there's something wrong with them. Because that's exactly what guilt is used for, to make you feel like something's wrong with you.
Yes.
So, like, you shouldn't be upset that I don't let you sleep over at your friend's house. You shouldn't be upset that you have to raise your siblings.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be upset about that stuff, you know? And we're here to tell you that, actually, it is valid to be upset about those things. And actually, even though your parents loved you and sacrificed a lot of things for you, you are still a human and a person who is worthy of having their own, the way they want it.
Period.
And you have the right to make decisions.
For yourself. You do know what's best for yourself. And you're not crazy for wanting different from what your parents are telling you. Mm-hmm. You're not crazy. And there's nothing wrong with you. Mm-hmm. And you shouldn't feel like the whole weight of your future should depend on what your parents want for you because they came and sacrificed everything. Mm-hmm. No. You get to decide. The second they had you, you have free will. And if they can't accept that, then leave them. That's my personal advice. Especially for someone who's going through it really hard. And, like, their parent really won't listen to them and is actually literally abusing them or neglecting them. Like, leave. You are strong enough. You deserve it. You deserve that freedom. You deserve to have peace.
And you deserve to have boundaries with your parents.
Yes.
You deserve to decide how far in their life they're allowed to come.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and because you don't have to go as far as me. I mean, I tried for a long time before I decided to cut my mom off completely. A long, long, long time. I gave her chance after chance until one day it just hit me. She's never, ever gonna care enough about me to change. And so it doesn't have to be to that extreme where you don't talk to them at all. But just know that if that is what you feel like you need, there should be no guilt in that. No. Because that is a consequence of their actions, you know? And you deserve happiness. You deserve peace. Mm-hmm. You deserve not to feel guilt every day. Or you deserve to not feel like the pressure of your future and the world and your parents' emotions and whatever they thought for you shouldn't be on your shoulders. Like, you deserve to have freedom from that. Mm-hmm. I felt guilty just because college wasn't for me. I felt so guilty at the time when I was in school. And for what? Like, it just shows how brainwashed I was since I was born, that, like, this was the only way I was going to be valued in the world and in my mom's eyes, was if I went to college. And then she did express to me that, like, I could do whatever I wanted. She just wanted me to have a plan and to have a future. But she never expressed that to me until I told her I didn't want to go to school, until I explained to her how unhappy and literally depressed I was. Mm-hmm. Like, my whole life, like, she wanted to make sure that that was my priority. And it wasn't until I told her, like, how unhappy I was that she, like, said I could do whatever I wanted. But that doesn't mean she didn't brainwash me my whole life to think that that was the only way I was going to be successful. I mean, there was a reason I was so afraid to tell her, you know? But
yeah, that was a constant thing growing up. Like, when you go to college, you know. And she meant
judging.
Well. She meant well.
Yeah, but I just want to mention that she would also, if her friends' kids didn't go to college, she'd be like, oh, they're just working at a restaurant job and they're just like, how are they? Yeah. Like, how does their parent not want better for them? Like, so, like, it was microaggressions that, like, made us understand that, like, my mom's gonna look at me like this if I don't go to college. Mm-hmm. And that's a really sad thing. Yeah. The conditional love coming in. Like,
that was my point by saying she meant well, because, you know, a lot of immigrants feel like that is something that they were robbed of, a higher education. But even though she meant well, what she was doing is conditioning us to understand that if we wanted to be a good daughter, we had to go to college. Yes. If we wanted to be loved, we had to go to college. And I can't imagine that that's too different from other immigrant families. And my heart goes out to you guys, you know.
Yeah, I am rooting for you.
I hope that this message does reach people who are going through that right now, because, like, we're already dealing with so many things on this earth. The ocean's on fire, there's a pandemic, etc.
The minimum wage is the lowest it's ever been in comparison to, like everyone's poor. Mm-hmm. There's no middle class.
Homelessness is rising.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, your parents are like, if you want me to love you, you have to do this that you don't really like and don't really care for.
This is the only way you'll be successful.
Sometimes it works out. Like, it worked out for me, but that's like, that's chance.
1,000%.
Everybody has their own path, you know?
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be made to feel that they're unlovable because their path is different.
Yeah. My heart really does go out to anyone who's in school right now, who is the child of an immigrant parent, because
who feels forced? Who feels forced?
Yeah, for who feels forced, like me.
If you love college and you're, like, great.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, like, I hope that if you are in school, that it is what you want to do. And I just want to tell you, like, if you're in school and it's not what you want to do, that, like, I support you, and I've been the happiest I've ever been, never having to write an essay again. Like, I am a creative girl. I am a smart girl. I'm really smart. And the fact that I felt useless and dumb just because I wasn't as successful in college like my sister was, I felt like I was a human being who was unworthy of anything just because I couldn't succeed in college, just because I couldn't focus. Like, that's so sad to me.
What?
It was just a really hard time for me when I was in school because I really did feel useless because of how brainwashed we are.
Yeah.
To go to school, and that's the only way you can be successful. And, like, I really thought I was dumb, and I'm a smart girl. I'm a go-getter. I'm really witty and skilled and capable. So it just blows my mind that was how I felt about myself at one point. And I just want to mention that, like, if you feel like you're more creative of a person, you're gonna find very creative ways to make money. Like, if you feel like you're smart in the streets, but, like, not in other ways that we're brainwashed to think we should be, you're gonna be okay.
Yes.
Just trust me.
All you need to do is tune into your intuition and follow the path that is meant for you. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all.
Shut down.
It's really hard to do.
Easy.
It's really hard to do. But you don't have to go through all these, like, hoops of, like, college or working for this corporate job or whatever. Like, some people, that is their purpose. But
yeah.
That's the question you need to answer, right? What is my purpose?
Yes. And the way you'll find out is if you shut off every other voice that has an opinion on your future and only listen to yours and what feels good for you right now. If you don't feel like school is for you, like it's really damaging your mental health, then walk away and maybe you'll go back. I have felt like I might go back one day, but for the time being right now, it's definitely not for me. You know, like, decide what is good for you right now, what feels good to you right now.
I really like that. I think that's a really good place to stop for this week, because I really want to be intentional about our energy that we're putting out there, and that's what I want to put out there with this episode.
Yeah.
Like, unconditional love. I don't have to know you to love you.
Nope.
Because we're all worthy of love.
Yeah.
And so I hope that this has helped somebody.
Yeah. You, just by existing, you are worthy, and you should feel worthy, and you should feel empowered to do whatever you want. I believe that everyone is capable of figuring out what they need in their future on their own. You don't need anyone else's opinion. Not your parents, not your sister, not your grandparents, no one.
No.
Not your cousins, even if they're going down that path, you know? So, yeah, I have unconditional love for everyone listening right now.
Yes, and I want you to feel that love, and I want you to spread it around in this next week.
I want you guys to be more focused on what unconditional love means and in what areas you know it's definitely not there. And just think about it, and you're okay, you're on the right path, so
period.
So thank you so much for taking the time to listen if you've made it this far,
and thank you for coming back even though we didn't have an episode last week.
Yes, I hope it was entertaining.
We spilled the tea.
Yeah, we were gonna talk about something else, but don't worry, guys. We like to keep the flow natural for our conversations, so I'm sure we'll bring up something else.
Oh, it'll come
next
around.
time. Yeah, it'll come around.
Alrighty.
Okay, thank you guys. Have a great week. We love
Bye.
you.
Love
Bye.
you.